Hi, I'm Gustavo, professional executive coach. I help people reach the next level in their lives, their careers, and their relationships. And the topic today is how to get promoted at work in 6 steps. There are many things you can do to get promoted at work, and that sometimes can be a problem because you are not focused on any specific tactic. So today I am going to give you 6 extremely important tips that if you implement them consistently, you will dramatically increase your chances of getting promoted at work. Let's dive straight into it. Tip number 1, always exceed expectations. This is the most basic tip, of course, but if you don't exceed expectations, then you will make it quite hard for your line manager to justify your promotion, simply because meeting expectations is a politically correct way of saying average performance. Ouch, that hurts. But as you can guess it, nobody gets promoted based on average performance, unless, of course, the company is in desperate need to promote someone. And in that case, you get promoted by luck, and when that happens, you might not get promoted again in a very long time, or until you get struck by luck again. Now you are going to tell me, Gustavo, of course I know I need to exceed expectations. That is common sense. So the $1 million questions in your mind right now must be, how do I exceed expectations? Well, that is covered in tip number 2. Tip number 2, know what success looks like. Now this tip has a lot to do with communication skills and most importantly with having a strategic mindset. That is something I always talk about with my coachees. I would say the number 1 step towards exceeding expectations and therefore to getting promoted, it's always knowing what success looks like. And believe it or not, most people have no idea what success looks like for their own roles. But even more, most line managers don't know what exceed expectations looks like for their direct reports either, which means their promotion decisions are either done subjectively or not done at all, since they don't have a clear idea. So your job here is to bring objectivity to the table, and the best way to do that is to sit down with your line manager and ask him point blank, hey, I really would like to know what exceed expectations looks like for my role, as I really truly want to provide you with the best possible service and the most value I can add for you. Now, when you ask that question, he or she will give you an answer, and that, my friend, will be your recipe for success. They give you the formula to exceed expectations. It's that easy. It's super easy. Now, my advice here though is, once you have that formula, go back to your desk and send an email to your line manager thanking him for the chat, and also detail his description of the exceed expectations formula. And trust me, you don't want to face some unpleasant surprise after having worked really hard towards achieving exceed expectations and not getting recognized for it in the end. So please close the loop and document the formula so there isn't any misunderstanding in the future. Yep. Now you must be asking yourself, and what do I do with that formula for success my boss just gave me? Well, we covered that in tip number 3. Tip number 3, plan the 50 weeks in advance. Now, exceeding expectations isn't easy, but it can, however, be made easier with some conscious planning ahead. Now, one of the things I teach my coachees is to plan in advance the value they are going to add, and then distribute that value evenly across the 50 working weeks of the year. That way, they not only appear to their bosses that they are adding value all the time, consistently every week, but knowing how and when you are going to be delivering that value and executing the items in the formula for success your line manager gave you, it's an amazing motivator. One that actually puts you in execution mode, which makes your job of achieving exceed expectations a lot easier and a lot more manageable. And above all, doing this will greatly help you anticipate problems before they happen, and also it will help you recruit people in advance of you needing them. Tip number 4, act constantly with a purpose. You have been told by your line manager exactly what is it that she wants to see from you in order to be impressed by your performance. You have the recipe for success. You have looked at the 50 working weeks of the year and assigned weeks to execute every item on your list so you can exceed expectations on time. Now is the moment to be laser focused. Now is the time to take action, but not just about any action. All your actions need to have a purpose if you wish to exceed expectations. And that means you do not think, you do not talk, you do not send an email, you do not move a finger, and you do not act on anything that is not going to get you a step closer to achieving your goals of exceeding expectations. Now you have to be laser focused on this first, and then if you have any spare time, you can focus on anything else that comes your way. And that is, my friend, how you must prioritize your time and your actions if you truly wish to exceed expectations and get promoted at work. Tip number 5, become an expert at something. Now, one of the easiest ways you have to exceed expectations is to become an expert at something. But again, not on just about anything, not even on something that you are really interested in. Instead, you will have to do a little bit of detective work, talking to people and understanding your business to find something that can realistically be extremely useful for your team and your organization, and most importantly, something that nobody else has expertise on. And you'll be surprised how easy and possible this is. And then once you have discovered what that is, assign yourself a clear deadline to learn about that thing more than anybody else in your company, and then voila, you will have ticked another box to truly exceed expectations easily. And tip number 6, a last one, make your line manager's life easy. Yes, that's right. The easier you make your line managers' lives, the easier it is to get promoted. And here are some of the most important ideas behind this tip. Now, number 1, operate at the next level already, from your day-to-day actions to the way you talk and even to the way you dress. And yes, that's true. So for example, if you are an accountant and want to become a CFO, then talk, act and dress as one. That is quite simple. It's quite dogmatic actually. Now the next one, and this is important, this is critical, one that people normally tend to neglect. Find and create a successor for your role. And that is in order to create a smooth transition. Now you'll be surprised, but bosses sometimes don't promote people simply because they don't want to complicate their own lives by having to find and train a successor. Now, if you can prove that you have trained someone who is capable and liked, then your chances of getting promoted are going to increase dramatically. Easy. Now, of course, it is quite ambitious to try to cover the topic on how to get promoted at work in just under 8 minutes, but it takes a couple of hours on the phone coaching someone to preparing to exceed expectations. But if you are interested in learning more about these tips, feel free to email me at info@citypolo.pro and I will send you more free content and information about these 6 tips. Again, I'm Gustavo, professional executive coach, and I am here to help you. Thank you for watching.